Hello, everyone. Phoenix here. How is it going? This is the cool thing to do nowadays is when you're talking about cars, you sit in your car. I've got my kid's seat in the back, right? And yeah, so today R2 pricing has kind of come out, so I'm going to show that a little bit. Um, my family has had an R1S for, we've got it January 2025, early January 2025. So we're going on a year and a half-ish pretty soon here, and we absolutely love it. We've had a couple of issues, of course. Service warranty stuff all took care of for free, and Rivian even, they didn't have loaners available. They do give out loaners when that happens, but they did give us a rental for free and even paid for a tank of gas too, so I didn't have to fill up the rental car with gas. But anyway, so let's get into R2 pricing, what is coming out, and how I'm a little bit sad, annoyed, frustrated. I don't know, like it's fine, but like this is such a better value than R1S. I think if you've got an R1S like me, I'm not going to care too much about this, but I think your resale value, right? Depreciation on cars in general is absolutely god awful, right? We plan to keep our vehicles for a long time, so that usually never matters. But I think this is not going to help your R1S resale value. We got the R1S standard, and I even changed out the tires to like I stripped it down as much as possible to get the price down as much as possible because it's still freaking expensive, right? Like for the average everyday person. But now we are looking at way better pricing for R2. So let's go.
All right, guys. So here it is. So if I sound a little bit different, I am using a different microphone for this part. But here is the R2. You can't do full configurations yet. It lets you lets you drag it around. But this is here, right? And I know what was it, a year or two ago? They sort of announced the R2 and said it would be around 45,000. Now a lot's happened since then. Tariffs in particular are pretty harsh on the automotive industry, so they've got starting at 48,490, which is, I mean, in comparison to an R2, that is still a value bundle, but yes, still not quite what, the 45,000. I do think that they said around 45,000 but like whatever, who's, paying attention there. But 345 miles of estimated range. Now, you do have to think too, it's not letting me do full configuration, so there may be different size batteries that you could select, like you can if you go into the R1 configurators. There's different size batteries you can pick from, depending on which trim level you pick. 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. This is for the less expensive rear wheel drive only variant to 350 horsepower, and you've got some color options. Now, right now, remember, picking these other, right, I'm going to guess this first one is your included color option, and same with the wheels too. Once you start adding these, like black on an R1 right now adds like $3,000. So I'd be interested to see what they do. The R2 is a little bit smaller, so they might give you a little bit better deal there. They don't let you do full configuration, at least not yet today. If you're interested in R2, you've got to reserve, and that'll probably put you in a spot in line. You also have to keep in mind down here, coming 2027, that is for the rear wheel drive variant. So what they're doing is, we're going to go through this here. We're going to pick premium. So that bumps you up to 53,990. You get a little bit less range, but you're getting a dual motor all-wheel drive version, right? And so 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. I think that is, let's look. I've got R1S here. Yeah, R1S standard is 4.5. I'd be curious if if they're down tuning the motors just a tiny bit so that R1S is still a little bit faster. But anyway, so you're already in that realm. All-wheel drive, dual motor, and then you do have a few more options for colors here, and a little bit different choices for wheels. Now this says coming late 2026. If you want to be first in line, you need to buy the performance variant, 330 miles of range, 3.6 second 0 to 60. Now that means you would have to, on an R1, you would have to go up to the dual, and that's with performance package as well, which is like another $5,000 add-on. So price wise, right? Like this is great, like in comparison to R1 platform. So I can't, unless you absolutely need 3 rows and a little bit bigger of a vehicle, right? You want that extra like storage. I almost am like, it would be dumb to buy, right? Unless you want the all out best thing they have, where you would get the quad motor, and you need the best of the best when it comes to off roading ability, because you want a motor on each wheel, right? I honestly don't know why you'd buy an R1S anymore. To just my personal opinion, you need 3 rows, or you like a little bit more storage. Yeah, R2 is just so much more, like, the value's better there, right? Even getting the like yellow brake calipers on this, and you're down at 57, 58,000, right? And it seems cheap because just of how expensive the R1 platform really is. But even more color options. You get this purple, like this purple to get on an R1, you have to go up to the tri motor, which starts at 106. So it's just ridiculous. But here now you can get purple for 57.9. So awesome. This is super exciting. I think this is going to be a game changer for folks in the States for sure, who want something, right? Like, there was a little bit, if you don't like the look of Tesla, or if you don't like Tesla in general, right? I know several people have Model Ys. They're happy with them, but they've been like, I wish it had just a little more room. This thing has a little bit more room, I believe, right? Now, I'm going to scroll down here. So there's like a few things that are just kind of like our good highlights here, right? This here, the back window opens. This is something that is desperately needed on the R1 platform. So I'm hoping that they bring that up to par on R1. Of course, the ones that I already have, it's not, yeah, it doesn't have it, but that would be amazing, right? I like to drive with the windows down in particular, and you get this, like, as you start getting up to higher speeds, you get this like pressure in the cabin, and a rear window would just eliminate that, right? To be able to crack that while driving would be huge. The wheels these are so much better, and they offer like haptic feedback, right? So if you scroll all the way up to like an option or something, it will like kind of vibrate at you saying you got to the top of whatever choice you're trying to pick or whatever, right? So, and then they're also like, you can push them left and right as like a button as well. Those are so cool. So those are better. That's already better. Those two things that are better than, what's in R1, like right off the bat, right? You still get a front trunk. This does look a little bit smaller than what's on the R1s, but it's still there and it's still sizable. The front trunks have been shrinking from some of the other manufacturers and or non-existent, like the Ford Mach-E. I think they're taking it away, and it's like an add-on. You have to pay more for it. And then, yes, the rear window opening, that is huge. I absolutely love that. I don't know, I just think it's cool. One thing that is weird is, so the rear wiper is sort of embedded in the back tailgate there. And I think there's like a slot that like leaves and stuff could like fall in. So I'll have to see how people deal with that, right? But otherwise, this thing looks amazing. The seats are going to fold down just like they do in a vast majority of vehicles today, and SUVs today. And you're going to get the glass roof still. And the only thing, right, you don't have a screen in the back, but honestly, like, like my kids are sitting back there. Like, I don't need a screen. We have the screen in the R1S, and it largely goes unused. And so, like, right, that's a money saver, right? So there's these little things that are saving money, but honestly, this thing is just as good in my mind. This thing is just as good as an R1S. And depending on the trim that you pick, right, these are faster. This is faster for if you care about speed at this point, in my opinion, right? This is already like, I mean, 4.6 second, like when you're in a car going that like that's overkill at that point, right? Unless you want the bragging rights, which I understand, I get it, right? But this is crazy to get, your 4.6 seconds here for 53 grand, 54 grand versus starting at 76 here. Now these prices have gone up. When we bought our R1S dual standard, it was, I think the starting was 71, right? So this stuff has gone up. The other thing too, when you go in here and if you do a design, you'll notice it bumps you up to 78.9. So what you need to do is you got to come in here and put these all season uh, tires on here, and then that brings you back down to that base 76. It takes away a tiny bit of range. You notice here 258 versus what was they put on there 270, but that's like, who cares at that point? It does play a little bit more. It does make it a little bit more noticeable on the higher level trims. Like if you're picking, right, if you go in and pick on R1S dual and then add like the max battery and then drop down to or then pick an all-terrain tire, it goes from right 370 up to 410 here with the other wheel, right? So it's a little bit more effective. But like here, like, right, you're gonna get, this is a little bit smaller, it's not quite as big, you don't get a third row. Other than that, I think it's better. Other than that, right? I would still want all-wheel drive, so I would get premium if it was me. We've got, in southeastern Wisconsin, we get snow and the plows don't always make it to your row, right? Four-wheel drive is a game changer sometimes in those situations. But yeah, so there's that. There is R2 pricing. Right.
Okay, so that is going to be my sort of few cents there. And you notice I am in an R1T now as well. So yeah, we'll have to do some videos about that. Previously, right, we were a one electric, one gas car each, right, for a 2-car family. And that was absolutely perfect. I think that probably works for like most families that are 2-car families. That makes a lot of sense. Use your electric for saving on the gas around town, and if you ever have to do road trip kind of things, use the gas car because it's still kind of meh. It works. You can charge on the road. It's just annoying to do right now. It's at least around where I am, there aren't that many fast chargers around by me. But anyway, so if you are interested in a Rivian, I will leave my referral code down in the description. Feel free to use mine as opposed to someone who has a gigantic channel and probably already has a ton of these. But it'll get you some cash to spend in the gear shop, as well as a certain amount of time for free charging. I believe that only works if you use a Rivian Adventure Network charger, which is annoying for me because there are none in the southeastern Wisconsin area that I live in. So that's kind of frustrating. But it is nice to get a little bit of credits for some accessories or charging stuff or floor mats or a shirt, like whatever. You get some free shit, right? So check that out. I will leave that in the description. I know my channel is mostly for gaming, so a lot of you are gaming fans of all of the stupid video games that I play. But if you're interested in more content about the Rivian that I own and how that's been going, I do have a couple of videos out already. So check for those. I'll try and remember to put links to those in the description as well. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. We'll see you next time.